Hello, Tan. I was wondering if you could teach me about anything or ramble to me about anything that you adore or feel passionate about right now, what would it be and what's making your heart light up?
Okay, so it's a kind of long story, but you are going to sit for the unabridged version because you opened the floodgates. But okay, so I have these characters. They're named Ryan and Whitney,
Mhm.
and they are just the worst. Okay, so okay, I need to give like background context for both of them. So here we go.
Okay.
Okay, so Rye grew up in a single father household, and so he like kind of grew up like not super well adjusted because his father was like low-key kind of negligent, but like his father does care for him quite a bit. But like growing up, like in school, he was like kind of he met this kid. We'll call him Wheatblade for now. I know that's a weird ass name, but like trust me, it just makes sense later.
All right.
And so like Wheatblade was like, okay, let's be friends. And like Wheatblade's like an exchange student. So Rye's like, okay, because like not gonna lie, this place where he's from, it's called Rezaik. It's like low-key kind of racist.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
kind of racist slash nationalist or like xenophobic. That's the word.
Uh-huh,
So,
uh-huh.
but like Rye was like, okay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he was like a lonely ass kid, and basically, like he was like, cool. So like Wheatblade and Rye were like kind of two and two together for a little bit, even though Rye didn't like super want him. Like he
Mhm.
was happy to make a friend, but like it's like if you're two fucking weirdos in the school, everyone's gonna look at you and be like, look at those two fucking weirdos. So there's like, and then like eventually, like Rye, like let's say this is like third, fourth grade-ish, more or less. Rye gets like her like, no, not Rye. Wheatblade gets like harassed by these bullies, and like Rye comes like sees it, but
Uh-huh.
instead of helping him, he like completely just ditches him. And
Uh-huh.
so like Ryan's just like fuck the entire time like growing up through like middle through high school. And like Wheatblade, later he changes his name to Whitney to like adapt better. He's like he has like basically this whole beef with him, obviously, because I would also have beef with him. And Ryan's
Obviously.
like, man, fuck off. I like barely did anything to you. And Whitney's like, bitch, I fucking hate you. So he like they have like this whole beef with each other. And then like Rye, their stories kind of diverge once they hit like adulthood. Rye becomes like he starts working for his father's company. I know he's a nepo baby. Crazy, right? And he's like it's like a museum or like some art institution
Mhm.
of sorts. And he's like, man, this fucking shit sucks. I'm like actually high key depressed. Like I just don't want to be here anymore. So
Mhm.
then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna sign up for the military, which is a great
Okay.
idea. You know, the most logical next step because he's like, I don't know what else to do with my life, I guess.
Right.
It's because he's like, I'm going to make my own decisions because my father, it feels like my father does everything for me because his father's like, Loki, like, hey, if you want, you should take over the business, like, once you get older. He's not, but like, he's not like pressuring him or anything. He's just like, well, this is a family business, so it's logical, the next
Yeah.
logical step.
It'd be nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be really great if you did.
Yeah.
And also because like he started with his late wife, who like
Hmm.
obviously and, like it's a whole thing, and then Ryan's like, I don't want this pressure on me. Like I'd rather just become an independent. And so he goes to the military, which
Uh-huh.
is like very well known to be very loose on guidelines and restrictions.
Right.
But anyway,
Right.
so he joins the military as like this telecoms guy, and he basically like works there for a little bit. He's like one of the older ones in his like little cohort extra group, and then a civil war happens.
Oh, good.
So this like Rizaic is like this floating island, and one of them like shatters the crystal that kind of holds it together. So it like destabilizes the entire continent, and both sides are like, "Hey, which one did it?" And they're like, "No one's answering." So they break out into this fucking civil war, and Ryan's like, "Oh shit, I don't want to actually fight because like I did sign up for this specific job." Anyways, an entire period happens. He loses like two of his friends that he made during the military. Entire half of the continent he like lived on fell.
Uh,
So like he made it out because he was a deserter, like a fucking coward, and he fled to another country named Sungam. And this is like canon divergent eventually, but we'll get there. Anyways, he like for the rest of his time there, he like finally does he like adjusts obviously to society because but like Sungam, it was actually a colonized country slash state of Rizaic. So people of Sungam aren't like super keen on like taking in refugees from Rizaic because it's like why should we fucking take care of you if you constantly like overtake us, like you are literally our colonizer, fuck you.
Right.
But they establish a place and he eventually like gets a job and like he gets a job and then eventually he like starts investing time into like his actual destined career, which is a writer. I
Mhm.
promise that him being named Rai and him being a writer was not intentional, and I only realized that way later. But it's
So
really funny it came that way. Anyway, so like speaking of his whole thing, like the fact that he lived, like the part of the country he lived in, fell to the or like fell to the water and like drowned. Everyone drowned. Everyone who lived there drowned. So Rai, who escaped that place, assumed that his father also died, and he was like, "Oh shit, I actually really miss my dad," because like he didn't hate his dad. He just kind of presumed that his dad hated him. So
well,
like one
yeah.
day at a book signing, he like finds like his dad comes over because he's like an established famous author at that point. And he's like, "Oh, you're still here." Because like his dad is like he like saw him and like they didn't want to make a scene, so like Rai was just like signing his book and just looking at him, and like his father Miro, his name is Miro, and he was like just like also looking at him. He just like thank you, and then he just left and stood off to the side until like the event ended, and like I don't know, like the father son dynamic makes me ill.
Yeah,
Because it's like his father does genuinely love him, but he's like swamped with work, and like Rai convinced himself that he doesn't love him, even though he
right.
does truly, genuinely love him. Like they do fight because, typical family shit. But
Mhm.
yeah, anyways, this entire story is to foil Wheatblade slash Whitney's, which I will now get into. I swear to
Okay,
God, this
okay,
is
okay.
this is getting super long. I'm sorry.
Go for it. No, you're keep going. This is amazing.
Okay, so we played Sash Whitney. He is not from Rosiac, as you probably figured out. He was born in this place called Gomidas. Yes, it literally means food. So I think you
I
figured
was
out.
gonna ask.
So yeah, so I think you're figuring out the what's it called, the naming conventions there, but they're
Yeah.
basically all named after like food plants with like food,
I
mostly food. So he grew up as Wheatblade, and he like moved to Rizaic at like 4, 5 ish. And so some context to his backstory. He also grew up in like a family of two with his parent. Their name is Rice Patty.
okay.
And so Rice Patty is like the top like upper crust. Like they're like super fucking wealthy because Rice Patty like basically owns like a bunch of modeling agencies. And well, you'll never guess what Wheatblade does as a career at 5 something years old. That's right, he's a model. Anyways, so they moved
Whoa.
to Resaic for like another business venture because it's like okay, just like fashion industry is like sprouting up or whatever. I haven't really sorted out the details. But what matters is that like Wheatblade, he's like super happy and cheery because he's like a fucking little kid. How is he supposed to know any better? Like can't really sit still. But it's like he like goes to this new place and he expects to make friends. He's like, "Wow, this place is so cool. It's like floating in the sky and shit." And then he's like slapped in the face with reality pretty quickly because like every fucking kid is like low-key xenophobic or they just don't want to talk to him because he talks way too much. Like at the pace I'm speaking right now, that's pretty much how he talks like all the fucking time. And like everyone else, like because it's so high up in the sky, they're kind of like they don't like speak as much because it's just like societal norms, but also because like you can't run your mouth that much. You're just wasting your breath.
Right. Right.
But anyways, he's like singled out really fucking quickly. Like not even the teachers really like him, because they're just like They're even more xenophobic than the kids, to be quite honest with you.
Oh my
But
God.
they're just kind of like, Wheat Blade, if that is your name.
If that
Like,
is your
it's
name.
like, please be quiet. And he's just like trying to answer a question, but he's not like super fluent at Rasai. I think that's the name of the language. Is it a Rasai or like Archaean? I think it's Archaean actually. It's a
Mhm.
long story. Anyways, so he's not very fluent in it either. So just imagine him like stuttering and fucking stumbling a lot. And like all the kids are just like, I don't want to listen to you fucking struggle, or just like laughing at him because he's just like fucking struggling. But anyways, the one kid that doesn't say anything is Rye. Ooh, he's back. Who's just like kind of quietly sitting back there, and then like Wheatblade's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like any fucking kid would, and Rye just like responds, and he's like kind of afraid because he's like, "I don't know how to react to this. Like no one's literally ever talked to me before."
Right.
But like they kind of hit it off. Like Rye actually does like being his friend. Like he's invited him over before. But like Weeblade just gets increasingly more is all over the place because he's super excited to like make his first friend here. Like he has friends back home, but it's like that's quite a ways away. And it's like it's just nice to have company and you can stick around. But like sometimes Rye just wants to be left alone. He's just like ugh.
Alone time. Yeah, I get it.
Especially when like everyone fucking stares at you in the hall and this guy beside you just keeps yapping and you're like, "Hey man, I don't really want to be associated with you right now." So like that feeling starts to grow as they get a little bit older. And so like Wayblade, he's completely ignorant of this. He's like he can't even read his facial expressions because Ryan's just kind of like, yeah, haha, that's cool. And Weeblade's like, yeah, awesome, I'm getting encouraged. So he like continues yapping, and then the scene happens where like their relationship like falls apart immediately. Where like Wheatblade gets like fucking kicked, like his shit kicked in by like some bullies or whatever. And then
Mhm.
like he sees Ryan, he's like looking at him for help, and then Ryan's just like, nope. And then he leaves, and then they never talk again. I need to
No.
like figure out how this happens, like the in
Right.
between from like elementary school to middle school. But let's just say those feelings festered like a fucking lot in him, amongst other things. Like he's like starting to realize, like, wow, okay, so no one fucking likes me because I stand out like a weirdo. My name is fucking weird. I know that for a fact. I
Mhm.
dress weird. Like he learned pretty quickly to not dress in his like normal clothing back at home.
Right.
So he's like all of these things. He's like basically having to confine himself into this box. Like so much compression. So like once like elementary school ends and he's like in the middle of transferring to another school because you know you have to do that. He's like, all right, I gotta completely change my personality.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
also, like, Ryan never apologized for that thing situation, by the way. Like, even though he really wanted to, he was like, I'm too scared to approach him again. Like, what if he hates me? I'm like, well, he does, but it would have been better if you approached him. But
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Whatever. He's like, he was a coward as a kid. He was a coward growing up. He became less of a coward after the Civil War because he stopped giving a shit.
I feel like that would change you.
That would change you quite a bit. But yeah, so like, anyways, Wheatblade, middle school. He changes his name to Whitney. He's like it's not legally changed, but like everyone calls him Whitney. He demands to be called Whitney. He makes this like gaggle of friends. Right. I don't know why I use gaggle. Who the fuck says that?
I use gaggle all the time.
Hell yeah. Anyways, there's like this he makes this group of friends which are like also kind of bullies, like they are bullies rather. And he like basically joins a clique. He's not like the leader or anything, but he's quite prominent because he has a very strong attitude to him and like when he comes, you know he's coming.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. And so like with Rye's still a fucking loner up to like high school. So like he's a pretty fucking easy target, but like Whitney has like particular beef with him that his friends don't really know about. They're just like, "Man, you just fucking hate that guy, don't you?" He's like, "Yeah, I do. I fucking hate that guy." Anyways, so like it's a whole line, like a whole series of bullying. But also at the same time, you know how I said that Rye's dad is always busy? Like Miro's always busy with work? Well, Whitney's also always fucking busy with work.
No.
So he's like, imagine being like a middle schooler and you got like a final, like you got an exam or like a test, I guess.
Oh
You got a test happening in like a week, and then your parent just drags you to the side, like, hey, you need to get ready for work. And you're like,
my God.
dude, I
What
have
was
to
child
fucking study.
labor?
Yeah, like child labor is legal. There are no
No.
child labor laws. What? No, it's like
No.
I mean, he doesn't spend a lot of time. He's a model, so like a
Yeah.
lot of it's just like him sitting under a camera and just like fucking smiling. But like he genuinely fucking hates it so bad. Like Whitney sucks, but I do feel empathy for him because like his parents sucks ass, his job sucks ass. Nobody at school likes him. Like his friends kind of like him, but he doesn't like his friends. He's just kind of there because they're like, I guess you're good enough. Whatever, I guess. Like he doesn't really care for them as much, and like even when like I'm getting ahead of myself, but like, can I tell you how much I fucking hate Rice Patty? I fucking
Yeah.
hate that guy. So
Very
like,
petty. Hate
oh
that
my
guy.
god, bro. Okay, so like they're the fucking worst. Okay, a little bit of background context. So this place, they're from a continent called Cardina or a country, and then like it's split up into seven sects, and they're named after the seven deadly sins. So comidas is actually based off of like gluttony,
Mhm.
so it's like overconsumption. So it's like
Oh,
everything media. So rice patty is like associated with like overconsumption and like that sort of thing. But like their personality, you wouldn't really anticipate because they're very like rigid and straightforward. Like they're very intimidating. And so like they're the youngest out of seven kids. Yeah, I know. Seven
mhm.
kids is insane.
7.
Seven kids is insane. So like they have like this extremely insane complex that they just hide super well. But like okay, this is like some insane sci-fi bullshit. I know this sounds mostly grounded, minus like the floating island and stuff, but like, okay, so Rice Patty, Whitney doesn't know this, but Rice Patty and Whitney are technically the same person, in
Mhm.
which that Whitney is a clone of them. But he doesn't know that. Like, cloning technology is crazy. But anyway, so like Rice Patty has like this super high expectation of him, like even beyond the clothing. It's like kind of self-projection. But like they're just the worst because like when he came home like as a kid, like Wheatblade, I'm just gonna call younger him Wheatblade to differentiate between bitch ass Whitney and like cute little baby Wheatblade. Anyway, so like Wheatblade, whenever he came home like crying or whatever, like Rice Fatty just kind of looked at him, was like, "Well, what did I tell you? You should have listened to me." And he was like, "What? Okay."
Mhm.
So like they're like super fucking abusive. They're like emotionally negligent. They don't. I would say I was going to say they don't beat them, but they actually do. But like not enough to leave like long lasting marks because you know he is a model still, so you can't damage the goods, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, so he has like basically no support line whatsoever because like middle school, like elementary school, he had Rye, and then they split up. Middle school, he has friends, but he does not feel comfortable talking to them. And growing up in a household that doesn't love you, it's like, okay, well, that means I only have myself to rely on. So he becomes like super fucking arrogant because not only does his parents teach him to be arrogant, but just because like if I have no one else to rely on, I have to rely on myself. So he
Mhm.
becomes like hyper independent, but he's also like super fucking emotionally stunted. Like he cannot handle like really serious shit. And I just want to shake him like why are you like this? Like I already listed the reasons why you're like this. So I'm like
Right.
holy fucking shit, my guy. Anyways, so that happens and well, eventually when the Civil War breaks out, uh what Rice Patty and Whitney are just like, all right, we should go because they have the money to do that to just fucking leave. They're like, oh, you guys figured that out. This isn't our country to deal with, so we're leaving. So they return home, and Whitney continues to be a model. He hits 18, and it's like immediately once he hits legal age, I think you know what I'm gonna say. He,
Oh,
everyone, like all the fucking agencies are like,
yeah.
so so like you're super hot right now,
No.
and like okay, here's another thing about Karina,
Hmm.
similar to Rizaic. They're also xenophobic, but like in a different way.
Right.
They're like fetishistic. So they're like, oh my god, you're like the model from Rizaic. And he's like, I was literally born here. But he doesn't say that, but in his head, he's like, okay, so I don't belong there, and I don't belong here. So I literally don't belong anywhere. So he's
Hmm.
like stuck in these in betweens like forever, and he doesn't feel like he has an identity, which is like really fucking frustrating to him because he always like feels puppeted in a way that he can't explain and articulate because he's just like, I don't know,
Mhm.
it's a whole thing,
Yeah.
and he's like feels
Yeah.
so fucking infuriated about it because he's like, well, if you guys don't accept me here, you don't see me as one of you here, then who the fuck am I? Anyways, his modeling career lasts until like he's 30-ish, until he fucking has like a literal public mental breakdown. Cause
Good.
like he was like just chilling at a cafe or whatever, and then like some guy starts taking pictures of him, and like at first he's trying to be civil because he's like learned to rein in his temper for the most part. And he's like, "Hey, stop that!" And then like the guy just keeps fucking taking pictures of him because no one knows boundaries anymore. So then he like flips his fucking shit, and he like he gets like world starred. So like he's on camera and like people are like looking at him, and then he like beats the shit out of that guy because he has so much pent up anger, and he's pretty fucking good at it. He's like he's furious.
Right.
So like he gets like sentenced to like trial, but like hella money, corruption. He gets paid bail by his parent, but his parent is like, you cannot be acting like that again. Like this is the last straw. Like you are completely blacklisted from every single agency
Right.
in all of the country. So
Mhm.
like so basically modeling was literally all Whitney knew. Like
Yeah.
even when he had the opportunity to like go to college or whatever, like he has like a vested interest in like biology, like science and stuff, but like he just chose not to do it because it's like he just kind of chose to blow off school because it's like, well, if I'm just going to be a model, then I might as well not even do anything about it.
Hmm.
So basically, his parent blacklisting him from every single possible agency he could work with basically means that he has no job, like no future in his career, and he has to start from square one because they completely retracted all of their support for him.
Hmm.
And like Whitney's made enough money to like be self-sustained because he's super fucking wealthy, but there is some financial abuse that happened when he was younger. I
Right.
digress. Anyways, so like he like completely like freaks out, obviously, because I would too personally. And like he decides to like completely ditch the country and like move to Sungam. Ooh, it comes up again. They don't really meet past ways, by the way. But they're like he goes to they have like this what's it called, like a beach house, I guess, I forgot, like a second home down
Hmm.
in Sungam, and he goes and tries to get his shit from there because like Rice Paper is like no, and that door is locked. So Rice Patty was like to whoever is like down there, they're like change the locks, whatever. But he fucking breaks into his own house, gets his shit, and fucking leaves. And he's like, okay, I gotta figure this shit out now. So he
Hmm.
has like this long ass period where he's like depressed as hell, and he like smokes even more now, because like he actually started smoking because like in his modeling job he like told himself like, no, I'm never going to smoke. My parents smokes and that fucking disgusts me. But then like his coworker was like, hey man, you look really fucking stressed. You want a cig? And then he was like, fine, okay. So
No.
he got addicted to nicotine because it's like a stress
No.
reliever. So he has a bunch of shit
Not
working
the meth
against him.
addiction.
He has like a bunch of shit working against him, and then like something happens. Like I think he literally gets hospitalized. Like he passes out in a store or something, just like me. I didn't pass out in the store, but like he like fucking passes out in like the middle of public, and like people are freaking out because they're like, holy shit, this guy passed out like out of nowhere. So
Hmm.
like he gets rushed to the hospital, and then he's shown kindness for the first time in his fucking life. He's like, wow, okay. I mean, he's still like super resistant to it, of course, because he's just like, okay, they're just doing their fucking job. Why should I care? But like, it does help him like figure out some shit. Because like, the thing about Whitney is that he's not the worst person ever. Like, he's actually an okay-ish person. He just doesn't have the support channels to be like decent because he's like every fucking time he like turns around, there's like another like hand that's like, okay, fuck you, middle fingers to you. And so he just like was like, okay, if this is what people want me to be, then I'll just be it. So being able to have the like support channels like helped him get out of this fucking depression horrific slump. And like he eventually does get a job. He's like, this is like peasant work. But he probably might say that. He not won't say that exactly, but he's like thinking about how it's like peasantry shit. Because he's so used to being like upper level. He's like, this is humiliating. But like he meets some pretty nice people, like pretty nice. I mean, they're still kind of like him, so they're not super nice. But he like genuinely likes being around them. So like he makes friends and he makes a support group. He finds a support group and like he gradually gets better. It takes like a long ass time. And he like goes to university and starts studying like biology and stuff. He wants to be like a geneticist slash like, like the internal shit. DNA and stuff. But anyway, so he gets a little bit better. And here's the funny catch, right? The only time he and Ryan meet, like actually meet, is when Whitney actually reads quite a bit. I think you noticed that this is going.
Mhm, mhm,
He and Rye actually originally bonded over like fantasy because Rye was like writing little stories and shit as a kid, and Weebly was like, "Wow, that's super cool! Like, you should tell me all about it." So they talked quite a bit about that. And like growing up, like Whitney still read quite a bit, but he just didn't let anyone know because he's like, "Well, people are gonna make fucking fun of me, so whatever." Anyways, as an adult, he like finally makes like more time for himself to read, and he picks up Rye's book, and he's like, actually, this is pretty fucking good. And he like remembers like certain story beats that Rye like mentioned way long ago. Like obviously they're way better now, but he's like, okay, this is crazy. So he's like, so when he has like this book signing, he's actually a really big fan of his writing. He just won't admit it, but like he goes to a book signing and like I don't know if Whitney and Rye have changed significantly enough to like not recognize each other, but I'm pretty sure they recognize each other. But it's
right.
like such an awkward interaction. Like he just walks up with books and he's just like, and Ryan just like looks at him, and there's like a recognition that passes between the both of them. And, and Whitney's just like trying not to be awkward as hell because like he still feels really bitter about shit, but like you know it's like whatever, man. I feel like I'm in the right still. Like
Mhm,
the crazy thing is that they both think that they're in the right, but Whitney's just wrong.
mhm,
He's just completely wrong. But
right.
anyways, he signs his books and he goes on his merry way, and they don't ever talk again. They never talk.
No,
They
no,
never talk.
never again. Never ever.
Never again. Never. Because it's just like, well, they don't want to associate with each other. However, I do have alternate universes where they do become
Oh,
friends.
good, good, good. That's good
Yay, I love my
to
friendships. It's like a whole spiel. I feel like I'm spieled like for like 40 minutes right now.
know.
but like,
No,
but,
yeah.
but
Like,
like, can I talk about those AUs?
yeah,
Okay,
no,
great.
go
Great,
for
great.
it.
Okay, so like, okay, so there's more like a more romantic orientated version, and there's a much more platonic version. But so we're just going to talk about the platonic versions because I feel like that's more realistic. So platonic wise, it's like so Whitney. Okay, hold on, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Here's the thing. So they like both liked each other as kids. Like they obviously both wanted to be friends, and it's like Whitney kind of is like it reopens some old wounds when they both saw each other again as adults. So
Mhm,
it's like really awkward and tense. And I feel like they live in like a similar neighborhood or like in the same area. So Deus Ex Library, where they both find themselves at the library, and like Rye's like reading some fucking books or getting some books, And Whitney is like around the corner, fucking carrying some books for himself or whatever. He's also like looking at some books. And so like they see each other again, and like it's super fucking awkward at first. And eventually Rye's like, have you read this book? And Whitney's like kind of fucking astonished that he's even bothering to talk to him. So but
Mhm.
like he's giving him a recommendation, and Whitney's like, no, what's it about? And so like they talk. There's like this little awkward conversation. Like, oh my god, they can't converse with each other. It's so fucking awkward. But like I think that's like the first step to them being
Mhm.
friendly, friendlish. And then like I feel like then they start to like really notice like them running into each other constantly as in like once in a blue moon. But I think that like Rye is actually an extrovert, believe it or not. He was just had crippling anxiety as a kid. But he's
Oh.
like a little better now. Therapy and and also like the Civil War kind of fucking changed him as a person. So like um so he talks a lot more than Whitney. Whitney's actually an introvert. So like like Rye does most of the talking. He kind of like makes a little bit of banter. He's like, I don't forgive you, but it's like, hey, keep running into you. And Whitney's like, hi, yeah. So it's like super fucking awkward at all times. And like, I swear this is more coherent because I've like talked about this a bajillion times with my brother. But in short, like eventually yeah, eventually Whitney gets like fucking sick of like Rye kind of being amicable to him. Cause he's like, okay, I know you fucking hate me still. So he's just gonna cut straight to the point. And he's like, you, why are you being so friendly to me? And
Mhm.
Rye's like, well, you wanna fight? And when he's like, do you want to fight? And Rye's like, honestly, no, but I fucking hate you still. That's not actually the exchange, but like I think that that's a possible option for the alternate universe. But there's another option where Whitney like approaches Rye first, and it's like super fucking awkward. Like Rye doesn't talk to him at all. He does not want to associate with him. But like at the library, maybe. Like Whitney just is the most horrible place to have a conversation. Quiet, isolated. Anyways, he's just like, hey, so he like basically apologizes in like his own way, his little
Mm.
Whitneyisms. And so like it doesn't seem like it seems genuine, but it seems also incredibly rehearsed, you know the way?
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Wow.
like Rye's like, I don't believe you. Like he
Mhm.
doesn't trust him like implicitly, which is valid.
That's very valid.
And like Whitney looks fucking pissed off for a second, and like Rye's like on edge immediately. He's like, "Please don't fucking beat me. We're in public, and I do not want to fight right now." He
Mhm.
could beat his ass though. Just
Right.
say Rye could beat his ass, but like Whitney gets like this expression on his face that like looks like he's super pissed off, and then he's just like, "Okay, that's fine." And then like I don't expect you to forgive me, and then he leaves like without any a further conversation. Rye's like, "Oh shit." Like
Mhm.
grew and changed as a person.
That's
Anyway, so like
crazy.
Wright thinks about that for like way longer than he should have. And
Right.
then so like eventually they meet again, and like Whitney has no intention of speaking of him because he's like, well, he obviously wants to be left alone, so why should I fucking talk to him? But then Rye speaks, and that's when they start talking like properly, and he's just like, look, I don't forgive you. However, it has been a long ass time, and I
Right.
think we should put this in the past.
Right.
And Whitney's like fucking surprised because well, they both hold grudges for quite a while. I mean, they're literally adults now. They're like in their 30s, 40s.
Yeah, it's been a
So
minute.
like it's been a hot minute. But like I think that that point they like start to be like more okay with being around each other. They're not like friends. They don't like exchange numbers like, "Oh, let's be friends." But no, they're just like they like run into each other. They have like a quiet chat and they like learn more about each other through like things. etc.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, that's like once they become actual friends, Rye is like much more open. He's very welcoming to Whitney. He's like very friendly. He's like very kind. Like and Whitney's like still super on guard. He's like, this cannot be real. He's like,
Hmm.
I don't believe this is happening. I don't trust you still. Like implicitly, he just doesn't trust anyone. And Rye has like opened his heart. Like I guess he's like he feels quite strongly. They both feel quite strongly, but like Whitney just hides it a lot. He hides it super fucking well. But like Rye's just like trying to be super nice and friendly to him. He has kids at this point, so like the kids fucking love Whitney. By the way, they're like,
Right.
wow, he's like rich as hell, and he's like low key kind of weird, but he's rich as hell. That's cool.
Right.
And like, so like Whitney sometimes comes over, and the kids are like, "Hey, Dad, are you going to date this guy?" And they're both like, "What the fuck?"
Hmm.
Kids are
Yeah.
fucking stupid. But like, yeah, Whitney's just like super tense all the time, and like he does really like Rye. Like he goes out of his way to do shit for him. Like
Hmm.
sometimes he's just like there's this like this story that I wrote. I never finished it. Where he like goes to the store and he sees like these lemon cakes, and he's like, "Oh, Rye really likes those." And but he doesn't like buy the lemon cake, which is the best option because he's like a fucking health nut still. Thank you, Rice
Right.
Patty. So he decides to buy all the ingredients to make it, and then he like goes home and has the ingredients out on his table, and he's like, "What the fuck am I doing? This is so embarrassing."
Oh, yeah.
So he's just like fucking standing there, and he's just like, "I don't know what to do with all this shit." It's
Right.
like, I mean, flour, sugar, etc. Like you can easily make other
You
stuff
can
with
make
it.
something.
And then so he like chickens out like so many fucking times. But like if he like genuinely went to Rye with that, Rye would be like, "Wow, this is so nice. Like I can't believe you remembered that about me." And when he's just like, "Yeah." Like
Hmm.
he's like so fucking awkward. He like can't socialize and save his fucking life.
Mood.
same, same. So he just like kind of gives shit to him because he's used to giving people things to win their favor, but it's like typically more materialistic because he's like, whatever, here's a fucking necklace, I don't give a shit. But like if he takes the time and effort to like make you something by hand, then he really fucking cares about you. And
Hmm.
like he won't admit it, but like it's very fucking obvious to Rye. He's just like, oh, that's so nice of you, and he's just like this fucking guy. And
Yeah.
like he just sees straight through Whitney. He's just like, why do you act like this? Like
Mhm.
he gets an idea, but he never actually he does ask that. He has no fucking filter. And Whitney's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, you always like, why don't you trust me? And Whitney's just like, I think you know the reason why. And it's like, right? He's like, yeah, that that's a fair answer. That's a fair answer. But like, I think that they have like this whole conversation, and Whitney eventually does lower his guard a little bit, and I'm like, yay, friends. They just continue to be friends, and it's nice.
Oh,
I
good.
did write this story. It's on my portfolio site
Oh,
once
sick.
once I have it up. But it's basically like a story of like Whitney and Rye.
Hmm.
Whitney invites Rye over to like help him harvest some plants
Hmm.
from his garden because Whitney has this big ass garden. Fill his time with something, right? And so I made a little sculpture of him. They can't see
Oh
it
my
until they
God.
see. Yeah, so this is
Oh my
Whitney.
God. You
I
can't
have like
see
actual drawings
it.
of Whitney if you want to see them later.
Oh
Here,
my God.
download
Yeah, I want to see.
them. Yeah, they're just the worst. Anyways, so like it's a whole like introspection on like Whitney's personality, like why he acts like that, kinda, and also Rise, because it's like split. What's it called? Split point of view. So like one part is like in Whitney's perspective, and other parts in Rise's perspective.
Hmm.
But it basically covers like how they think about each other, how they behave. Anyways,
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah, I care them.
You
They're my
care about
babies.
them. And
I
you
care
made
them.
them.
I made them. Yes, I
You made
did.
them and you care about them.
I made them. And I care them.
Dude, how long have you been like thinking about this? How long of your life has this taken?
Let me see when I created Whitney.
You don't even remember because it's been
No, it hasn't been too long.
okay.
I mean, long enough, but
Hmm.
watch this. It's like over a year. I'm really
Damn.
I don't know. I haven't checked. Hold on. I have a reference gallery to pull up. Whitney, Whitney, I need to find you. Okay, June 1st, 2024.
Dang. Only
Yeah,
that long ago? And it's
yeah,
that fleshed out?
yeah.
Oh my God, you're so
I
creative.
think about them a lot. I have more characters,
Yeah.
but if I literally cannot tell you all of
No,
them.
yeah.
I have like a spreadsheet of
You
characters.
can tell me when we're not recording though.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, no, that's so cool. That's so interesting. So like
Yay.
you have you before them, did you make other characters before that and stuff like that? Is it just like a thing for
Oh
you?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No. I had like so. I started making characters like with a little bit of person. Like I started drawing when I was around like 4-ish, and then
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to draw like human characters and stuff around like 7. I think my first two characters were named Annie without the E, so like
Mm-hmm.
ANNI and Away, and they were like twin sisters.
Aw.
It was like a whole quirky thing, and I'm pretty sure they were based off my siblings
Uh-huh.
because one of them I never see because they're like 8 years older than me,
Mm.
and then Annie is just the sibling name,
That's
the sibling name before he transitioned.
yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry, bro, but like yeah. So I feel like they were just like I've always got inspired like personal experiences and shit, like either personal experiences or other people's anecdotes,
Mhm.
which is why I mentioned xenophobia like a fucking lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no.
so cuz like I know there was something that my mom told me that really stuck out to me when
Hmm.
we were just like outside walking, and she's like, in the United States they don't view me as American, and if I go back to China they won't view me as Chinese, and I'm like, damn.
That
So I took that for Whitney. Sorry, mom.
yeah. She's
Sorry, mom. But like,
taking inspiration from real life events.
yeah. So like, just like the idea of like not being able to belong, but feel like also knowing that you do belong in those spaces is just it's a lot to think about. And I feel like lately I've been really focusing on like more like darker topics like corruption, just like general not great things. Like Whitney obviously is like extreme levels of abuse. I mean, like
Right,
he doesn't want kids, but
right.
like in AUs where he does have a kid, he does break the cycle, which is nice. Like it takes a bit, and he like I mean technically he has his own set of issues to deal with, and it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
obvious to his kids. So like it's not the same level. He like tones it down by a lot, but I feel like you can't
Mm-hmm.
avoid accidentally traumatizing your kid. Like it's one
No,
day or
yeah.
another it's gonna happen.
No, yeah. So like Whitney and Rhyme, how would you say that like those specific characters have like helped change you, like in how you act, or like just anything about you that it's like the impact it's had on your life, I guess, the characters.
Okay, so this is more on Whitney's behalf, but I think that so originally when I made characters, I tried to make them like as likable as possible. Cause
Hmm.
like I'm just like, no, I like don't hate my characters, and I'm gonna be sad if you don't.
Hmm.
But like not likable as possible, just like I like would personally be friends with them, or just like generally accepted to be nice or like decent-ish. But I think Whitney's like the first character I've like fully decided like, okay, he's gonna be like a piece of shit for most of his life, and like I'm going to give him a lifeline because like I still gotta sneak in this like, okay, he can get better, he just happens to be a shithead for most of it. So I
Right.
think that like started my phases, like my current phase of like writing pretty shitty characters. Like currently I'm in this period, I'm going to keep this as brief as possible, So I make these characters, and they're in a gang, and the gang leader actually has clone children. There's like one of them is like right, like they're both technically right hand men, right and left hand men. So her daughter, she's like a spitting image. She's like basically if you literally did make a carbon copy of her. Her name is Liberty Bell, the gang leader. And then the other one is named Americana. So Americana is like the child of
That's a
Liberty
good
Bell, and they
name.
basically act identically to each other. But like Amon Platschen, I think that's how you pronounce it, is her twin brother. He's trans. So like, but he like wants to get these like twins. There's like these twins that got sold off pretty much to this gang, and so they're named Ravi and Elbalite.
Mhm.
So those twins, they're actually fucking horrible to each other. Cause like, so their mother got it's a whole political spiel, but basically, Liberty Bell wanted her mother, who was named Tourmaline. Liberty Bell wanted Tourmaline's expertise and skills because she was very skilled at tech. So she contacted Makizushi, which is actually Rice Patty's sister, to be like, hey, can you arrange a hitman? Wait, no, it's the other way around. Makizushi wanted Tourmaline, so she asked Liberty Bell, hey, can you get someone to fucking kill her husband? Because her husband, Tourmaline's husband, like had her like in the industry, so they worked together, and it succeeded. So then Makizushi was like, hey, want a job? I have another opportunity for you. And Tourmaline's like, well, okay. And so she's super fucking smart. They're like working on like these androids. And she's like, okay, if I work hard enough, I can bring back my husband. But then Liberty Bell is like, hey, since you can't take care of your kids as much anymore, I can take them in. Sandero's like, okay. So now her sons are in the fucking gang. And they're like horrible to each other because they're like, at first they grew up really close, but like as they grew up, they progressively got like more and more distant. And like they still deeply care for each other because they grew up together, best friends, but they're kind of in like a crabs in a bucket situation where they hate each other and they want to leave this place. But like whenever one of them tries to like almost escapes with Amon Platschen's help, the other one like drags him back in with him. It's like, I don't want you to leave because I'm not suffering alone. But also like I'm afraid of being alone without you. So it's like a whole thing. So like, and then there's like spies and stuff that pretend to be friends with them, and like the only good person really is Amon Plashin, and that's like, but they're like he's like quickly giving up on them. Anyways, that gang's an entire mess, but that happened
Mhm.
post Whitney creation.
Post Whitney creation.
Yeah, and yeah, as you can tell, no one's really a great person there.
Yeah, um, perhaps not.
Perhaps not. Possibly.
Possibly, but you're a good
Possibly.
person, so that's good.
Hooray! One person out of like millions, probably like hundreds, dozens of people.
For real. Well, okay, I have two more questions for you.
I'll try to keep them
This one,
short.
the first one is if anybody listening to this wanted to feel even just the tiniest piece of what you feel towards these characters or just story making in general, even, where do you feel like they should start?
Um. Okay, I feel like this is a mental predisposition, but I can't say because I wasn't diagnosed with anything. But
Mhm.
I would highly recommend just like finding a piece of media that you really fucking like, and then
Mhm.
like for me it was Maple Story. Everyone
Oh.
who fucking talked to me knows that. So for me it was Maple Story, and actually Rye was based off Maple Story. But I digress. Anyways, so like I feel like you need to find a piece of media you super like, and then you gotta get super invested in characters. Like it has to be really good writing or just good enough for you to be insane about it. And
Mhm.
then like you have to have the drive to like put your own voice into it. Like if you like theorizing, that's already like a step in. Like me
Mhm.
personally, I like to like theorize and make headcanons, and then I'm like, yoink, my character now, and then I just run off of them. But like I really do think it's like being able to enjoy media like unabashedly. Like, don't be afraid of being cringe. That's what
Right.
I think. I am unfortunately unabashedly cringe, even though I'm very sorry.
Um, and I think it's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that about you personally.
Thank you.
I think the last question I have is there anything else you want to say? Is there anything else you want to add to this? Go for it.
I
Now
have a
is
toy
your
house. It's just toy house, except the period is like slash like dot se toy
uh-huh.
house, and then I think my handle is slash triumph. I don't know. You can read more about my characters there. I might just tell Bella to link it, but
Yeah, I can do that.
but in any case, I highly recommend you make characters, even if you like think it's stupid and cringe. Like cringe culture's dead. Make a Mary Sue. Like if
Cringe
you have a
culture?
favorite character, if you have like a crush on an anime character, go make a character to ship with them. I don't give a shit. Like whatever. Your life is your life, so do whatever you want.
Yes, preach.
Yes.
I You are not the first person who I have like interviewed for this for Secondhand Wonder about just character creation and
That's
world
really
building
funny. That's
and
really funny.
no, yeah, it's actually the most common thing so far. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
It's just so easy to talk about.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Does it all come from your brain?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much,
You're
Tam.
welcome. I have no idea how long that fucking took.